A very good morning for all of you today who have joined now for this webinar to know more about how to prepare yourself or your IT environment to meet the demands which this hybrid environment or the hybrid workforce have created. So probably I would be engaging with you for another hour, and I would try my best to give you all sort of information related to the IT information and IT workforces which you have got to be ready with today. So a quick introduction about myself. I'm Sharath, associated with Manage Engine for almost about more than 7 years right now. So I am the one who would be engaging with you for another 1 hour as said, and would try my best to help you out to share my knowledge in terms of how this hybrid workforce is impacting the IT environment in most of the organizations, and what are the things which we have to be, get things ready with, or we have to get a checklist with. All those things is what we're going to talk today. A quick introduction about what Manage Engine does for this IT environment. Manage Engine is a company which is there for more than 20 plus years, which we have Zoho Corporation as a parent company, where Manage Engine is a division of Zoho Corporation. So the main motto of Manage Engine products is to make sure you bring the IT together to give you a seamless experience in collaborating with IT tools and make sure your IT environment stays safe and it responds to you the better way as it's supposed to be. We've got products, more than 100 plus products available with Manage Engine, starting from managing your Active Directory, checking out for your help desk, creating a ticketing tool. We have got application monitoring, we have got network monitoring, we even do have desktop monitoring, patch management, mobile device management. Probably we are in a era of monitoring all your mobiles as well, as that becomes one of our office IT gadgets. So we do have monitoring for all your mobile devices. We've got analytics which would help you to analyze what is the trend of all kind of environment is working with. We get you out for an exclusive reporting kind of tools. We've got cloud-based tools. We've got privileged access management, identity management tools, and we also have editions in different various cultures. We have got standard professional edition for our small, medium-based customers. We have got large enterprise customers. We have got MSP, which is covered with more than 20 plus years of experience. We work to make the IT environment better at your organization with all kind of these Manage Engine products. And today we would exclusively talk about the network and application monitoring related to how your IT environment has to be with, or how it is already. That's what we would share together today. So just to start with the basic infrastructure of a general enterprise network company, either it be a product company, it's a service company, be it in any size of the company, let's say be a mid-sized company or even a large enterprise sized company, a general IT infrastructure would be like you would have the internet connected, where you would have a router passing through the firewall for your security and then connects to your switch of your office, and then probably it would get connected to multiple devices inside your office organization. There you have your LAN, you might have wireless connections, you might have your endpoint devices like mobiles and laptops being connected. All this is watched by the IT administrator of your organization. This is how a general network infrastructure would look like. Where we had a greater visibility of these entire infrastructure, and we also do had a great control over this, when we were in the office. But probably about like 15, 16 months back, when the pandemic have hit throughout the globe, we started losing our visibility over all these information. Like we had a control over the bandwidth availability, because we know how many devices are connected, how many employees are getting into the office, because we have many information related to the check-in check-out of the office organization, how many people are physically present in that location, either on the branch office or the head office. We have the complete infrastructure about how the bandwidth is being utilized. Or in terms of security, either be internal or external security threats, we might have a separate security team or a red team who would be taking care of all those security alerts. The internet access by the employees, or in terms of complaints with the general regulatories, or the complaints of your own organization, you might have your custom policies to maintain such complaints. Or even we talk about your endpoint devices like the laptops or mobile devices, even network devices. Any of these things, we had a greater visibility when we were working with office premise. But later, as said, about a year back or more than a year back, we started working from home. That's when this hybrid culture have come into picture. Maybe now I would say there's the hybrid culture is more throughout the globe because the pandemic is a little bit close. I wish that would be closer soon. I think all of you who are here would also definitely wish that the pandemic has to over soon. But at the verge of these state, I think the hybrid workforce is more into picture. Earlier, it was completely of work from home due to the high risk of the coronavirus throughout. But now, as the cases are down, even South Africa today, we have got less number of cases, closely about only 2,200. Earlier, about 3 4 months back, it was in thousands. But we wish that and we pray that it's less today, and we are happy about it. Probably it would come to zero in some time. But today we are in the hybrid model where most of the critical resources of a particular team, either be a security team or a network team, or it be an administrator, or it be anybody of the organization, there are part of the people who have to be in the office, and there can be a couple of teams who can work from home. So there are people mixed together, work from home and work from office. That's the hybrid state today, and there are most of the companies today in the globe are adopting this hybrid. There are certain percentage of the companies who say they can be in the office forever, but certain companies who want their employees to be there at the office itself. It's about the company's choice as well as the personal choice. But that hybrid workforce, what does it brings into the IT environment? What that hybrid workforce have really changed when compared to the regular work from office we had a couple of months back. So the entire infrastructure is the same. We are now started connecting to those resources which is already there in the office through the VPN tunnel. We are about to get the connection to those resources only through a VPN. We have to get connected through the VPN. Only then we get the access to the resources which is there at the office, which probably might give us a lot of other issues like slow connectivity. And then probably there are cases where hackers around the globe who have you know hawk eye at the vulnerable possible places, like where we started work from home. We might just get connected to our home network. Probably the home network is not that great as compared to the office network in terms of security, or the device which we use at home for the routing purposes, the routers is just the Soho routers, which might not really have a greater capability of the security. So there are a couple of challenges which definitely comes when we talk about working from home. And what this is what it majorly changed when we start working from the hybrid model. That's what we would see one by one. What are the most common challenges you come across? What could be the possible solution which, as a representative from Manage Engine, I can offer to get your IT infrastructure at a better place to maintain it proper? When this hybrid have started coming into place, we were definitely off guarded. We were not absolutely ready with everything what we are happy with today, because at the time of the occurrence, we were completely not ready. We had issues with the VPN. We do not know how many of the employees are getting connected through VPN from home. How many of the employees are connected for what time of period? Because probably when we try to connect to the VPN, we might forget to get out of the VPN, which definitely caused the VPN bandwidth to go spiked high. So there we have an issue related to the insufficient VPN. We have issues related to the audits which we come across through internal audits or even through the security audits. We've got issues. We do not have control over that. And we were not be in a position to track the changes which is made on the devices at remote locations. And when we are moving out to work from the home, we are supposed to work from a different, IT gadgets. Let's say mobile devices. That's something which is most commonly attached to us, which we have to get in. Most of the apps which is cloud today, we are trying to log into our through our personal computers, personal mobile devices, to get to know what the status of the tickets are, to know the status of your IT devices and stuff like that. So bringing your own device adoption have come into a greater increase in percentage after this, hybrid workforce have started. So those things have to be managed properly, because if that is an IT asset of your office, definitely that will be having an information of your organization's IT asset or details. So which definitely has to be guarded safe, because if that mobile device is being lost, or it has not been taken care properly with the security uh, threads, or in terms of security, probably your organization details are at a stake. Probably that would reach to a wrong hands. So that's where we wanted to look forward for your mobile IT devices. We also wanted to look for the complaints of all the regulatory mandates, or as said, as per your company's policy, you might have your own complaint standards which have to be in place. And also about the applications performance is not that satisfied because of the connections we had now, because all parts of the world do not have a greater internet connectivity like major countries. I would say there are a few countries which have 5G right now, but there are other parts of the world which we have not crossing even the 3G or 4G for now. So when we start working from our home, we do not have a greater internet connectivity as compared to the office organization, which definitely have a great impact in accessing the application, which in terms obviously leading to the loss of productivity and increase in anxiety, where we were not able to definitely give out the best of what we are supposed to do with accessing the application. So which in terms hit the entire life cycle of the IT in terms of application. So these are some of the most common issues we have come across, or I would say the challenges we have faced when we were talking about this hybrid workforce in the IT environment. And that's what we are about to talk. The couple of scenarios, challenges, and how Manage Engine's IT operations solutions can help you to get rid of all those challenges. Quickly, let's see a couple of challenges. One is, let's say, for example, you are a developer who is working in remote and you've got a project to be delivered in the next 30 days. You've got tightly packed and scheduled, but how do you get that project delivered? There might be a couple of challenges when we are working from remote, as said. One most important challenge is insufficient VPN. If you do not have a proper VPN connection, which can be connected to get the resources from your office to get your project being delivered with a given period of time, definitely there would be a reduce in the productivity. Thus, at the point of time, you would end up with poor end user experience, which obviously would lose in terms of monetary losses, which in terms would have more other losses as well. So if also you do not have a greater collaborative tools with your office mates or your colleagues, you would end up not knowing much about what's happening around there, and you would end up in getting not the project being delivered in 30 days as well. So these are something which is most common, especially when I say VPN. And if we do not know the exact usage of the VPN, probably we might be end up in, with the wrong forecast, or I would say you have got to plan the better VPN bandwidth. If that has not been planned perfect, you would have to buy with more bandwidth in terms of your SOGO products like internet. I would say you've got to pay more for your internet for a better bandwidth to get connected to the VPN. So if you do not have stats in hands, probably we might end up in spending more, which is absolutely not necessary. So that's the reason I would say we have to plan it perfect. So what is the solution to get this VPN properly get monitored? There are something which you definitely need to prioritize in when we talk about VPN, because just think about your personal um, uh, you know day. In a day when you start working for an office, you try to connect to the VPN. If it doesn't connect on your computer, probably you would definitely get annoyed for about say 5 or 10 minutes. You take a little walk or a break and then try to come back and get connect to the VPN to get access to your office. Again, if it seems to be not connected proper, obviously there is a hit on the productivity. That's what we are talking about. If that seems to be not proper, you will have to get them monitored. You have to prioritize that VPN monitoring. You continuously inspect on what are the IP addresses which is using so much of the bandwidth. Track them down on the destination where it goes to. Get to understand the trend of the VPN usage, because there are a couple of employees in your organization who is a critical resource of your team who is continuously sitting on the VPN to access more. So you've got to plan the VPN bandwidth accordingly as per your time and the needs of your employees. Because there is a project which is supposed to be handled out in 30 days, you might the next 30 days you've got to plan your bandwidth accordingly. Keep a track of who is accessing those VPN. Keep an active eye on what are the active sessions, because when say there is an active session of a VPN for more than about 20 hours, 30 hours, that's something which is not necessary, I would say, in my personal opinion. Probably no person can connect to a VPN for such a long time. Is absolutely not required. So probably that might be that employee might forget to connect out to the VPN, or that might be a different case. So we have got to keep an eye on what are the active connections currently there on the VPN as well. So when we start prioritizing the VPN, we definitely would be success in terms of delivering the project. It would be a hassleless experience for the remote developer, which would end up in more positives of maintaining your IT infrastructure in terms of delivering your projects. Next scenario, which might be a traffic monitoring in terms of your network, which is hosted in cloud. We're not only talking about on-premise. We, in case if your traffic or your entire network is hosted on your cloud, we have to be making sure that your that is also being taken care of. So that's what we talk about. Say for an example, let's take it's an AWS virtual private cloud for an example. So as you know, this digitalization takes an upper hand. Most of the on-premise models are like moving on to the digital market, moving on to either any of the cloud solutions, either it be AWS, Azure, or any type of that. So when we have things like AWS VPC, it helps you to connect, through the internet, or it helps you to connect to your data center, the devices or the servers across your data center, and you can just connect to other users who is connected through the virtual private cloud as well. Which you will have to think about if that is the case in your organization. This VPC is already helping you to connect through a private IP address, which the communication would think as they are in the same network. It doesn't seem to be on the cloud. That's what this AWS would work with. So even on those cloud materials, definitely these kind of AWS monitoring on the virtual private cloud is also highly necessary in terms of monitoring your traffic. So keep an eye on monitoring your bandwidth on the traffic. Let it be the traffic in detail. Let's talk about the source. How much of the bandwidth is used by these number of sources? Let's take top 10 sources who is using the bandwidth through this AWS VPC. Or let's drill down, diagnose, and even troubleshoot a couple of threats and anomalies. If there is something, say for example, if your flow is coming in through the traffic is general, say let's say if the UDP packets closely about 10,000 packets, or say for example about like 15,000 packets, that's how your traffic packets are moving across when we use the bandwidth by different employees, a different range of regions. But when we see there are more number of UDP packets coming across, that would definitely not be the case in the general structure of an IT. Let's say we are talking about a million packets of UDP which is coming in at a certain period of time. That's definitely, I would say, that might be a possibility, greater possibility for an anomaly or a threat. That might be a DDoS attack. So we have to keep an eye on that. Get the best out of the results, either monitoring your bandwidth for the traffic, or let's talk about threats or anomalies. We would have to keep an eye on the same as well. Another scenario, apart from monitoring your VPN or it be your bandwidth, be it a traffic or threats, managing your security is also highly important, especially when we're moving around in working from home model. Why? Because as everyone knows, the security or the firewall, whatever we have at the office premise when we connect through Ethernet, the old model, it's not the same right here at this moment when we work from home. Because there are more challenges when compared to working from office. There are challenges, there are so much of vulnerabilities across. And we, the end users who is trying to access the office assets or anything of the office networks, either be a remote developer or be a technician or be an administrator who takes care of all these servers, virtual network devices, be it anybody in your office, they are really vulnerable. The devices are really vulnerable for attacks, because hackers in today's world are definitely playing around like anything, who can try their best to get into the R network through many other ways. Because as you could see on the screen, there are more number of home Wi-Fi networks are easily targeted by the hackers, because that is more easy, because nowadays it's not like an old school model, like only through emails and phishing emails. Like there is an email being sent, you are not supposed to click on the link. That is more easy to understand. I think most of the school going kids are nowadays even aware of that, they're not supposed to click on an email from an unknown sender. But that is not the take the attackers or the hackers are taking nowadays. That's different target they are looking for. They are looking for a different methodology to get into our environment or a system. We also see there are 38% rise in the cyber attacks, especially on banks and other financial services. I would say, generally, I've read somewhere it's almost about 220% or more than 200% of online transactions happens throughout the globe. Generally, after being working from home, because nowadays, let's take a simple example. We are not getting into any of the stores in physically. We are not getting into any of our uh, you know grocery stores, let it be restaurants, anywhere. We are not getting in person. We are almost trying our best to sit at home, stay safe, and order online. So the online transactions which is across is way more than compared to 2019, I would say. As I said, it's almost about 220% increase, which has more number of transactions. Obviously, you would have to take care of your applications, which with with high security. That is also something hackers are completely focused on. And there are a couple of cases where cybersecurity threats are happening for the work from home employees, and even there is a global increase in coronavirus themed spam emails. This is something which is again coming into the picture through emails, like based on the coronavirus, either be insurance or be hospitals. An email looks like from hospital, email looks like from insurance companies, email looks like for the better of coronavirus, what are the top 5 things you're supposed to do? How is that you're supposed to keep your health ready? All these kind of coronavirus themed spam emails are coming up into picture by these hackers. And we also see a stat which says 9 million customers have hacked, and there are, because of the high probability of the phishing attempts again. So this is something which would keep happening. This is again happening right now as well. But we are supposed to get ready for this challenge. Make sure you've got a right solution in your hands, like your Manage Engine ITOM solutions, which would help you prioritize all your network security, and you can keep an eye on that security monitoring as well. When I say monitoring all these kind of security events, let's start monitoring your firewall with the help of all the logs from the firewall. We would keep an eye of what your firewall is doing. Let it start from the availability of the firewall, like whether the firewall is up and running or not. Until then, even we are talking about the security right here. To whatever extent we would have to monitor, we have to keep an eye on all these metrics, get alerts at the right time, proactively monitor, make sure that is stopped before it is reaching on the bad hands. Like monitoring your VPN users, as said, you have to keep an eye on VPN users who have logged in for a long time. And if they are trying to reach through the VPN for a couple of times and they get failed, probably about 3 or 5 times, then probably that might be a cause for someone who is trying to get into our network. Get to understand about the forensic level of analysis, make a detailed report, have an understanding of the user's activity. There are a couple of rules in your firewall which is set by your firewall security administrator for the betterment of your company. Check which employee or the of the organization is trying to violate those actions. There are a couple of rules which is not allowed in your office. That is generally made it's clear that nobody is supposed to access that. If there are people who is trying to hit on a couple of websites which is not so proper, which is not so sure, you would have to get the list of those people, make them in the watch list, Get them alerted about these other websites which is already not been allowed by the firewall and you still are trying to access, which is not supposed to be. Get them a warning in prior. So keep an eye on the security is what I would definitely recommend. And this is something which you have to prioritize when we have to work from office or work from home as well because of this hybrid nature. Next thing we have to discuss in today's structure, it is all about the site-to-site VPN connections between your main headquarters office and from your offices throughout the local places. Let it be hub offices or spoke offices around which you the branch offices which might have been created for the betterment of the easy access to those people around that place. We have got to make sure the site-to-site VPN, how that is being established. How is the connection of the site-to-site VPN made? The challenge in terms of site-to-site VPN, giving connectivity from your headquarters to the branch office or your hub or spoke offices, is the old technology we had used earlier is all about the site-to-site VPN connecting through the cables, connecting through the tunnels. That is definitely a kind of an old technology and an increase in cost as well when we are planning out for new hub offices or new spoke offices. As said, this particular pandemic have made into a place like where everybody cannot come into the office. There are cases where the organizations comes forward to create hub offices, or I would say a small branch offices are newly generated by the organization itself for easy access of the employees, as many of them cannot also handle working from home because either because of many reasons, I would say probably because of not so great internet or because of the home has already been packed with so much of people where they literally want a place to work with a better internet and security. The organization is taking forward to create a spoke office. So when we talk about those kind of information, site to site VPN creation from the main headquarters to the hub offices is definitely a little bit a complex. It is not that great, that's not easy in terms of hardware or in terms of getting that ready. So site to site VPN, when compared today, it's kind of information from the past. I would say that that is something which is old, and even we might not have a better budget allocated for that in terms of giving a site to site VPN, or we might not have a better resources to establish that kind of site to site VPN unless until it's somewhere close. So that's where the technology about software defined WAN came into picture. I think most of the companies, or I would say a part of the companies throughout, have migrated to the SD-WAN technology already. It is quite a little bit simple and easier as well, where we can deploy the SD-WAN devices across with the help of the SD-WAN controller. That is, you can definitely be able to communicate to those devices. You can create a better picture, and you will have definitely a greater control over the entire data center. Just we have not to be rely only on the VPN every time when you have to connect through your headquarters to access some of the important servers and things like that. But this would definitely be able to help you out to have a better visibility, a greater control over the entire material, either be routing or switching or getting the information from the assets, file sharing, be it anything in terms of network or through, you're talking about traffic. SD-WAN technology have come into place. So if there are companies who are about to plan for a hub office, we definitely have to keep in our mind that SD-WAN technology might also help us, and this have a better visibility as said, and you will have a better security as well in terms of getting back into this new technology of adopting this software defined WAN tech. And other kind of scenarios which we wanted to discuss about is preventing this unauthorized change. This is quite very common across. Let us take any type of organizations we are working with, either it be a product company, service company, or let it be a e-commerce company, or let's say any business you run. There would definitely be a network infrastructure, as we saw earlier. Those network devices which we are talking about is something has to be handled by a perfect network administrator. Probably I would suggest, if it's a small company, if it's a mid-sized or a medium-sized company, it's better to be handled by one or two network administrators. If there are more number of network administrators inside your organization, that would definitely be a chaos at some point of time. If you've got a better administrators, I would just definitely say pat on your shoulders already. You're doing absolutely a great job running your IT up and running throughout, even at this pandemic time. I just take this moment and opportunity to thank all the IT administrators and the network administrators who have been participated right now at the moment. I should really thank every one of you to make sure, and I'm happy that your organization runs better just because of you. Let's quickly take an example. Say either be a university or, I said, any company, you would have a network administrator who is authorized to do some changes. That is the only personnel who will have to change something on the configuration. If there is a changes happening on a network device, definitely there should be a track of who changed the configuration, what changes was made on that particular configuration, when was that made, and possibly how was that changes made. Like, is that made through a third party tool, like either be, you name it, like Putty or any other terminals, you are doing it from another tool, or is that you are being managed by an internal tool itself. So make sure who is making those changes, at what time they are making the changes. So we will be making sure that the changes are right, because you would have a right privilege to make the changes. But if that's the case, we will definitely have not been provided with an administrative privilege for all the administrators. Probably there might be a senior administrators, there might be consultants, there might be newbies, there may be a couple of things which would happen. Probably you most of you might have come across. I'm not sure whether you have come across this particular case recently. This is a little bit interesting. I would also like to share it with you. There was one of the biggest channels from the US that was having a newbie who have joined to that particular channel, which would telecast all those kind of movies and live shows and talk shows and all those. That newbie have privilege for everything inside the organization, where he would have access like the senior network administrator, and that he is just a newbie, probably joined a couple of weeks back. Unknowingly, he have tried to send out an email to all the prime customers of that particular channel, included, you name it, they would definitely be a prime customer of that particular channel. Let's talk from celebrities, politicians, anybody you name it, they would have a prime account for that. So all those people have received an email about a test which is not supposed to be sent out. And that was spoken about in the Twitter or in the internet for a long time. About I think about this happened almost about 4 months back. So that's what we are talking about. If a newbie has an access, but the case which I am discussing with you does not created a greater impact on the network. It does not make the network collapsed. It's just an email, by the way. So it doesn't matter. But we cannot take that granted, because if that is something else, think about what if he had an access to close a particular talk show when it goes on live. Think about that, how much of work is being there behind, how much of traffic, or how much of money involved at the back end. So we have to prevent any type of unauthorized changes, and probably that should happen with an approval mechanism. Without an approval mechanism, probably if you do not stop it at the beginning, probably only this is the best way, I would say, you have to approve it based on the users you have in your hands, either a tool like Manage Engine's IT operations. Probably you have an access, like anybody, be a newbie, you give an operator a role, be it a senior technician or an administrator or a network administrator, get them the admin role. So even the newbies can try to upload configuration changes when an administrator is assigning a task for a newbie to make some changes, uh, to say, for example, to create an access list, to stop or to deny a couple of IP addresses, or to say allow a couple of IP addresses. Newbie can write a configuration change on the product, and probably he can send out for an approval. Only after approved by the senior or the administrator, that will be applied on the device. unless until it will not be pushed to the device directly. So you would definitely have a gate in between to check what's happening. So then you would have a better environment. That's what I was talking about. That is not complete of your authorization, or that is not completely of what we are talking about in terms of monitoring your network devices. We also have to give equal importance to check about the complaints of your devices. I said we would have to identify the devices with the configuration being changed, by whom, what changes, when was the changes made. If that is already with ours in hand, this would be more easy in terms of auditing. So we would know how many changes have been done in a year, how many changes for that particular router is being taken care in a month, for example, how many number of changes have been taken into account. So those are really authorized ones, or is that like being approved after and accessed by the manager? So you will have to identify the devices also which has violations in terms of complaints. Let's say, for example, any complaints you talk about, be it as a hip hop policies or SOC policy, or in terms of Cisco for routers and switches, let's say Cisco's iOS policy, or you wanted to create your own custom complaints. Say your organization from South Africa would have a couple of complaints. Your password should not contain anything in the name of your organization, or your password should not contain anything in terms of admin at 123 and password at 123. Probably I am not right now seeing you people, but I could sense that most of you are smiling right now, because when I say password at 123, admin at 123 as a password, like most of us have come across these passwords, which is easily hackable. So those kind of passwords are not supposed to be set by any of the employees inside your organization. You have a strict rule of that. You will have to check whether any of your devices have that kind of passwords. You can run a compliance check on those and make sure you create a remediation as well for that. Change the password as something else. You create a remediation of that as well if there is a problem being identified. You are already working with ITOM solutions, which would definitely help you proactively monitoring what the problem is. It also gives you an additional hand to help you remediate at the right time to make sure the password is changed. So then it would be like in a flash. Immediately when the problem is arrested, the solution is also been given at the right time. That's what more important it is. Check on the complaints is something which I would definitely say when we talk about network devices. Something is an additional information, or a kind of a next type of scenarios we are talking about is collaboration and conferencing tools, which we could have every day talk about. Rather, we might forget anything about in a day, but we would definitely not forget what is our schedule in Zoom meetings or in Zoho meetings or in WebEx or in Microsoft Teams. Let's name it. We are very much adopted with all these new collaboration tools. We are supposed to have those tools live up and running. We are almost sitting in most of the meetings only through virtual nowadays. So these are some of the tools which are supposed to be in place, which will definitely keep a high track of what we are doing, and it would also help us in collaborate with the team members to get a better response of what we are doing. Let's take for an example. We are working with the Zoho meeting. Our webinar is currently happening through a Zoho meeting. This is an in-house video conferencing. Likewise, probably your companies might have adopted tools like Zoho's meeting, or you might have Microsoft Teams or any other collaborative tools, or you might have your own tool as well, an internal collaborative tool as well. If that is the case, I would definitely mention that, as you all know the importance of having a collaborative tool today, you have to keep monitoring on that as well. Because if 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 at all you're trying to have an in-house application in for collaboration or for any other matter, if you have any in-house application, rather I would say I have an application to check in and check out for your employees, either it be virtual or be a physical. Once you have the same application, you have to really track about that, which would, just think about an example of check in and check out, which would lead to different stages, which would lead to different teams as well. Because check-in and check-out involves administrator, check-in and check-in involves HR as well. That would lead to the payroll team as well, because based on that is what your payroll has been decided, like number of hours checked in or number of days you've checked in. If that particular tool is not been properly working, if that application says it's still loading, whenever you try to check in, probably you would think that you have to reach your office early to get in to start working at 9 o'clock, but you're sitting at the check-in place. You're trying to swipe your car for more than 30 minutes. What's the use of being early at that particular place? So that's what we are talking about. Monitoring the applications is also quite very, very, very important. Let it be you yourself use those applications, in-house applications as an employee, or let's say the end customers, the end users who are using our applications should definitely feel smooth enough to make sure the application is running perfect. If it is not satisfactory, definitely that would create a greater impact. It will affect the credibility of the company, the application, the loss of productivity if it's our in-house applications, and you would have a lot of other issues in terms of the application is not working fine. Probably to give you another example, I would say you run an e-commerce business. You are on a sale, and then you are running a sale at an important time. Say it's a prime time in South Africa. Say that's a long weekend in South Africa, so people are just generally have to check for like Christmas or like anything in that particular place. You're running an e-commerce business. You wanted to run or you wanted to sale up something. If that's the case, if at that prime time, if customers have already logged in, they are just picking up stuff from your cart and they are almost about to check out, and if the checkout page doesn't load and it keeps giving you an error, and if the checkout page says your transaction is failed, whatever you do, what is that cost? Just think about that. If it's your own e-commerce website or your own money involved, definitely, how many of them will properly or do really wait for another 20 minutes, another 30 minutes, and go up for a sale? Probably they would leave the website and move on to a next alternative or a competitor site and check for what's the product they have on their carts. So that's how important it is to make sure your application's performance is continuously monitored. So prioritizing application, you will have to definitely understand what are the key performance indicators, what are the metrics which is supposed to be monitored when we talk about an application. Either we talk about individual URLs of an application. Say you click on a respective sign in and then you move on to the next stage, that would be another URL. You move on to another page. When you just move on to other pages of your website, each URL should be so responsive, which should not take even a couple of milliseconds. I would say that should definitely be so smooth and fast enough so that your end users would feel better in terms of using your application. Rather, designing an application better, designing the web graphics or colors and everything is great, but if that seems to be quite very slow, it's not been handled with the proper resources, then probably that's of no use. That's what we have got to check on the root cause of those application slowness if it happens. I'll give you a quick example occurred. So one of the leading banks, as said, like it has a lot of online transactions when the work from home have started, and all these kind of work from home culture have begin. You've got so much of online transactions keep happening. Either it be paying up your bills or ordering on the online for restaurants or anything it can be. Being it an online transaction, that particular bank was not able to completely load all the transactions, and it almost says most of the time as transactions have been failed. This is something which is so bad. Probably most of us here today in the presentation would have definitely come across at least once or twice when we try to pay something on time and then it says it failed. That was a transaction failure. Probably I'm not sure how in other parts of the world, but there are banks which would debit the money from our account and probably then say that the transaction is failed, and they would probably take a week or about, let's say, 10 days to give the money back to our account as that seems to be failed. There are cases like that, which would definitely, I would say, if you are an end user, you would definitely be annoyed and agitated. You would definitely not feel so better. So at that particular point of time, I've read that the bank have clearly said that that was just because of high transactions, which they could not scale. And they said that they were really not expecting a large transaction volumes in that short period of time. Probably later point of time, that respective IT and the network administrator sit together to understand that that is because of the sort of resources. They do not have the enough resources to capture in terms of large transactions. Because this is something which happened, and this is something after it has happened, the network administrators or any administrators are learning from it. The learning from the mistake is also something which is nice, but not in terms of costing anything, like a lot of customers has been out for another competitor. That cannot be a cost taken. You definitely have to be so much proactive. If there is supposed to be a mistake happening, you will definitely have to understand at least before it is happening. So then you can try your best to stop that from happening. That's what we mean. So that's what it was because of. They require more number of servers, and that's what they were looking for. Later point of time, those kind of solution situations comes up, I would suggest you would have to go for a better deployment of the resources. Either you can orchestrate it better with all these Dockers, Kubernetes containers. You can orchestrate it better. You could definitely understand if you're running up with an application on a container deployments. It could help you scale quicker and faster. It is nowadays it's most common to use, or it's I would say it's coming up in the hands. It's more common nowadays in terms of Dockers and Kubernetes. Earlier it was not that case. You wanted a server to be there, you will have to go for a physical machine, get the hardware, set it up, connect to everything, make sure the server is scaled up. Later we have come up with your virtual environment, which is way more quicker than getting up a hardware setup. But now the container deployments like Dockers and things like that are more even quicker, more scalable, which could help you monitor the entire application package. Let's start from your traffic, the memory usage. Let it be on your cluster, or it be a single node, or let's say it is there on a public cloud or a private cloud. Be it anything, you would definitely be able to track the entire capacity of the individual nodes, or be the clouds, to understand whether the number of the cloud nodes which you are placed on the containers are sufficient to scale up the application which you're running. You understand the forecast of the nodes, whether that's sufficient or not. You will understand how much of the nodes are healthy, how much of them are critical, what is the root cause of the criticality, and you can track the errors, and much more can be done with the help of these new age containers deployment. And orchestrating this new structure is more quite important. This is something which it is easy for a bank to scale up. So this is one other method we would suggest to go with in terms of scaling up. In terms, if you think your customer base would be more, if your environment is as such, if your company is as such, if your organization is as such, in terms of having end users in more numbers, if your company is growing, literally everybody is happy about that, your company is growing. But make sure you have enough resources to handle that growth. That's what we mean, to make sure you have a better monitoring solution to keep them in hands with you. It should not go out of your hands, and then you should not be in a place where you do not know what to do at the moment. That's what we are talking about here as a solution to maintain your resources enough. That is what couple of scenarios and challenges which would generally you might have come across. There might be challenges which I spoke now, you might have come across, or any of your colleagues would have come across from the previous companies they were working with, or the current company, or you could have read that something or somewhere. Probably these are the general cases which I wanted to discuss with you, which we have recently come across. So that is when I would suggest you would definitely give it a try for the Manage Engines IT operations solutions. We've got a vast area of the IT operations covered with the different products we have got. We have got Manage Engines Op Manager, which could help you to monitor entire network, starting from its availability, its performance metrics, the processors, the files, the folders, the services running on that particular machines, to know about the performance metrics like CPU memory usage, the memory, of a respective server, be it any devices, you name it, which has a reachability from the server, you would definitely be able to monitor them, which have an adaptive threshold to help you to automatically tell you if there is a problem about to come in. That's what the capability of Op Manager is. We've got other tools in place, network analyzer, which is a net flow analyzer, which would help you to analyze the traffic from your network. How much of the bandwidth is being utilized? You get to know about the current traffic usage and the bandwidth usage. We've got firewall analyzer to monitor your firewall devices, know about the usage of the VPN, the active users, all those things which we spoke about earlier. This tool is quite capable of. Applications manager is something which could help you to monitor your applications, database, any of these container orchestration tools. Anything is possible with applications manager. Network configuration manager is another tool from ManageEngine, which predominantly works or focused on the configurations of your network devices and checking out the complaints of all those devices. OpUtils is one of the tool from IT operations, which helps you to monitor your IP addresses and also the ports of those switches, because it's that not easy for you to understand which IP is free of a subnet. If you name a switch, you wanted to know which port of the switch is used, which port of the switch is free, if that is something connected to it, what is connected, all those information. That's one single stop. You wanted to take it, I would say that's ManageEngine's Op Manager. You've got everything as a bundle named as Op Manager Plus. In one single installation under one single roof, you've got everything in place. That's what one tool called Op Manager Plus has. You have all these as point products as well, which I could take probably about another 5 minutes of yours to explain or to show you how these are in the products. So Op Manager is something which helps you to monitor the devices. Let it be any type of devices. We name it, like be a router, be a server, switches, desktops, firewalls, any type of devices. We would definitely be able to monitor them. We could see what is the current usage of that particular traffic on the interfaces. We could see uh, what is the trend of that particular bandwidth, or in terms of monitoring, we've got different type of monitoring in terms of CPU, memory disk. We've got more to do with Op Manager. We've got virtual environment, storage environment, physical servers, Hyper-Vs, Nutanix, everything can be captured and monitored. When we talk about NetFlow Analyzer, this is completely based on flow technology, be it clouds, AWS VPC, or be a physical router, anything of that, you would get a perfect picture of what is that router behaving as, what is the traffic being captured as. So you get to see the interfaces, what is the usage on that respective interface in terms of traffic. Let's take the last hour, or you wanted to have it for a different time period. You get to know the volume or the bandwidth in terms of utilization. You set threshold values and get alerts before it reaches that respective point of time. So you get to know the individual data as well. You get to know what applications uses that much of traffic. So you wanted to also get to know which application is using so much of your traffic in the organization. So based on that, you get to understand the number of sources, where it is reaching to, what is the conversation between a source and the destination, at which application it is talking on, what protocol, and what is the number of the bandwidth usage or the traffic being used for that particular transaction. That's what we are talking about right here. We've got a couple of more information as well. When we talk about that, we get to understand your wireless controllers. We get to know if there are any attacks, like as I said, if there is an anomaly being detected, we could also be able to capture those anomalies and get you monitored right at the moment. Firewall analyzer is something which could help you monitor all your VPN structure, and it could also help you monitor all your firewall in place. So when we talk about firewall, we get to see the firewall usage, the traffic being accessed by the firewall, anything in terms of security statistics, like you could see how many events are denied by the firewall, how many attacks have happened, what are the possible viruses which comes into place. If there are failed logins on the firewall, probably firewalls would not be logged in with the wrong password for more than 5 or 4 times, because that's something which is accessed by very, very few security administrators. So you could understand there are so many failed logins, we could capture them right at the moment itself. Let's say, for example, we've got more to do with the firewall analyzer. We've got, let's say, for example, let's take another firewall. We get to see the bandwidth, the top 10 sites, the top 10 hosts, destinations. If there are some rules and applications which are supposed to be allowed and denied in your organization, say, for example, your social network is not allowed in your office, where you say deny facebook.com, deny instagram.com, or deny any of the live sports streaming applications. So if there are still people who is trying to hit on those websites, you could get to know how many hits are there on that respective pages. What are the applications being used? You also get to understand the rules and the trend of the rules which is there on the firewall. You have a exclusive rule management. You get to know the complaints management of those firewalls. And exclusively, we have something called impact analysis in the firewall, which is something which is, I would say, I'm very happy to talk about, because you have a firewall rule which has to be imported to the production firewall, but you're a little bit skeptical to know whether this will impact another rule. Is there a rule which is redundant over that rule? You want to know whether that happens or not. That's when your impact analysis would help you. You can write the firewall rules, try to import to that just as a simulation, test it out how that works, and then probably push it to the production. You could directly like clean up the unused rules. We get to give you a greater split up of what are the rules which is not used. If that is being used, we get to understand, or we get to help you to reorder the rules as well. If there are a couple of rules which is not properly being used at the respective time, you can clean up them, you can compare them and move more as well. And another tool called Network Configuration Manager is nothing but predominantly used for your configuration management, let you know about the vulnerabilities of the firmware in that respective switches and network devices. It could help you check on the complaints as well, and it would also help you get the backup of your configurations in real time, and it would keep saving all those configurations right here, and it would be encrypted in the database as well. So when we get to see any of these configuration changes, we could see the difference between those configuration changes as well. So which we could see there is a difference. This particular line has been modified when compared to the last backup taken. You can just compare with any other versions. You have opportunities even to push the configurations from the tool to the product to the network device. Say you purchase a new device in your organization, you want to have an existing configuration to be pushed to the new ones, you can definitely push that to the new one. If a router becomes faulty, you wanted to revert back to an old configuration, that is quite possible, because it's just by a single click you just upload those configurations. And we talk about applications manager. That's what we were talking about. Monitoring applications are quite very important. You have any kind of applications which can be monitored. We talk about .NET applications, Glassfish, be it Java applications, JBoss, anything can be monitored. You have databases with various type of databases which can be monitored. We talk about Cassandra databases, Mongo's, MS SQL's, MySQL databases. In terms of containers and Dockers, we have got Kubernetes, Dockers containers, which can be captured. We've got cloud applications can be monitored. That is quite possible. So if you monitor an application, you could definitely get more insight of that application. Even we are monitoring about the database servers, you could again get more insight on the database servers as well. So what are the sessions running? What are the jobs coming up? What are the performance statistics? What are the queries which is running too slow? You could understand what is the time taken to run a query. If that is taking so much of time, probably that would give you the application in the slower pace. So as a DB administrator, you can optimize the query to run quick faster. Probably you have to optimize the query. You've got to play around with the query. Make sure you change, tweak the query, and probably the execution time is so less. So the page loading is also quite less to get the data from the database. But there are so much of interesting options available in the products of the IT operations from management, like getting into more insight on that, to get the root cause analysis, to get monitor the end user's experience, the real time browsing usage from different regions. Probably you run a business globally, you want to know how the end user is accessing from India, from Africa, from America, from Australia. You wanted to know from different regions how that is being accessed. You get the real time monitoring, get to have a perfect picture of how that is being captured. That is what we are talking about in this particular place. So these are all kind of managed engine solutions we have got, which could definitely help you to monitor your IT better. Thank you everybody for listening, and it's really a pleasure getting up connected with you all. Thanks a lot. Bye. Take care.